All right, people, welcome Lose the Booze participants to your next episode of your podcast. We are now going through the fifth week into 6 weeks. So that means our next time we see each other in the gym, we will be doing a weigh in for the sixth week. We are coming up on 4 weeks left of this challenge. And right now, you must be asking yourself, are you starting to see the changes you want to see? Are you starting to feel the way that you want to feel? And if not, what am I doing wrong? This is the time when we get to ask these questions because now we're not necessarily at crunch mode. We're kind of past crunch mode. We're at the point where if we haven't gotten it by now, we really need to understand that lifestyle choices, things like these little what we call minor implications we run into on a day-to-day lifestyle, like the sleep and the monitoring of stress and things like that. We think they don't matter until we get to a point like right now. We got 4 weeks left. And are we going to get the changes that we want? Are we going to start seeing what we want to see? We should be seeing them by now. The original Lose the Booze challenge was over by now. So now that we got the final 4 weeks, you're looking at yourself in the mirror. Are you still taking photos? Do you even care that this challenge is still going on? Because that's the thing that's so hard. If you don't have someone in your face, in your house, in your presence, rah, 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 every single moment, are you able to stay with this? For some people, they can because they just love challenges and they exceed because it's just that competition bug in them. But then you have people that have that same competition bug in them and they succeed in other ways, but on something like this, they can't succeed. What's the difference? Why is it so hard for them? I probably should have wore a different color shirt because I didn't know I was going to blend in back here so much. But what's the difference? The difference is the people who already kind of have their workout life going on. It's not that hard for them to do stuff like this. And they kind of need this because they're at a plateau. And we might be at a plateau right now, right? We talked about this last time in the gym. Most of us on the Zoom one-on-one phone calls, we talked about that plateau that we should be hitting right now. Why? Because that first 4 weeks is great. We lose 2 to 3% body fat, sometimes 4. We lose 5, possibly up to 7 pounds, minimum 4. That's all great news. But the problem is, ain't nothing changed from then. You know why? You haven't changed. You really haven't changed. You've become more aware. You now know a couple things that could work for you, a couple things that wasn't working for you, but you still hadn't changed. You're probably still drinking more than you really want to or need to. You're probably still stress eating more than you want to or really need to. And you're probably still not sleeping. And we know you still ain't drinking enough water. Water is hard for people because I like to say water is poor people food. And this is going to piss people off when they hear that because they're like, why would you say something as asinine as water is poor people food? Because these are the type of mindsets that you have got to start developing if you really, really, really want to dig in to why these changes have not happened yet. It is so on you, and it is so the final 4 weeks. So right now on these videos, it's the reason why I'm doing the podcast and I'm not talking about this stuff in the gym, because this is the moment when y'all get to hate me. You are not going to get any changes because you don't want to change. That is usually the go-to that I go and tell every single client that I've ever had from day one. And the main reason why is because these are all about decisions and choices. And when it comes down to decisions and choices, usually your social or financial stature can also play a part into that. Here's what we mean. The broker you are, the less money you have, the more you're focused on a budget or, and I'm not talking about a budget for a vacation or a budget for a new renovation on a house. I'm talking about you are broke and your bills cost a lot and your livelihood costs a lot and you don't make a lot of money. You end up not spending on things you don't need at grocery stores, Walmarts, Costco's, things like that that will fill your shelves, that will usually leave you feeling somewhat guilty. Even if it's a skinny pop air GIF, whatever, that's saying every single thing in the world about how this is a great snack to have. At the end of the day, it's just going to really break down into carbs and sugars mostly because it's not protein or fats that are in any of these things. So you're going to gain weight. You're going to hold on to weight. You're going to retain weight. And the main reason why is because you're not willing to realize that one of the conversations we had in one-on-one phone calls this past week before I went out of town was the protein, the water, and the fat. You guys are all doing pretty good with your fat intake because you like the peanut butters, you like the almond butters, you like the avocados. Those are not a problem getting into people's bellies these days, but it's still like those easy things, the protein, the water that we're having the issues of getting. Some of us now are starting to realize, hey, all I got to do is add another shake into the day, and I'm getting a lot closer to my goals. And now I'm starting to see those changes. But really, what it boils down to is something very similar to what we talked about in the last podcast. It's that mindful approach to, if I take these choices away, they don't become things that interfere with my goals. You know what I mean? Like if I walk into a grocery store and my list says I need to get vegetables, a protein, some spices, some frozen, some fruit or something like that. I'm going in the store. I'm getting those items. I'm getting right out of the store. I'm not going to go down. I'm not going to resort to kind of a childish behavior where I'm just going to be like, oh, I didn't know that was on sale. Or, oh, let me go check it out. Oh, if we allow the branding to take its toll on us, not only are we going to satisfy the goal of the brand, which is to take our money unnecessarily, we are also doing the damage to our body because we don't need that stuff. And when I got into coaching CrossFit and they jumped into a lot of old tactics with nutrition, the L, going into the grocery store. And it was stuff that I'd seen and heard before, and I was glad that they were promoting this stuff to the people. And that's why it's so sad that the sport went so steroids, because it just really took away the essence of what those guys were trying to create in the onset. Still, a lot of that stuff is true, though. Like when you're going to the grocery store, yeah, you can go down the middle aisles. I go down to my middle aisles for my rice, my Hispanic and Asian needs, which are certain sauces and things that I use to cook, to marinate my meats and stuff like that. And I'm not necessarily buying this in a bulk quantity, and I'm, you know what I mean, where it's going to impact my livelihood. Like if I decide to do some barbecued smothered, chicken thighs with like white rice and some roasted asparagus or something like that, that's not like the barbecue sauce on my chicken is not destroying me. So it's okay for me to go down those middle aisles to get things like that. But if I'm down in the cereal aisle for 5 minutes, excuse me, like that's when we're running into a problem. And these are the things that we have to recognize, because if we don't recognize that these are problems, then that's where we run into issues. Okay. So you got to realize, like, you cannot outwork this. Okay. Your body is so complex, and it's complex to a system where you got to realize this. You got bones, right? On top of those bones, you got your muscle fibers, right? You got everything that's keeping those bones together. But on top of that muscle, you may have fat, and you might have a little bit more fat than you want to in those areas. That's 3 layers we got to work on. Okay. We got to keep every single portion of those in mind if we're really, really going to get the goals that we want. So when it comes to eating, when it comes to why this stuff is important, it's because you should see the fluctuations. You should see that my muscle is weighing as much as the fat, because 1 pound weighs 1 pound, no matter what it is 1 pound. But my clothes are fitting different. My inches are getting smaller in certain areas. I'm getting peaks in inches in other areas. Why? Because the ideal mindset is that or the ideal aesthetic for a woman would be of the Athenian composition. The aesthetic for the man would be of the Apollyon, where broad shoulders, thick chest, big biceps, thick quads, thick glutes, thick calves. For the woman, broad chest, heavy memories, posture shoulders, strong neck, strong glutes, strong middle of the back from carrying what's in the front, thighs, calves, all the same. We are not designed to be skinny because we have that inside of us. This is the skeleton. We're designed to protect that skeleton. So your goal should always be to have muscle in these areas, especially your larger areas of the body. And then in the areas where you're not happy because you're seeing a wag or a thigh gap or something like that, that's only going to change based off of dietary and based off of lifestyle choices. And if you have not made great lifestyle choices for over 30 years in your life, don't think 10 weeks is going to change anything on that. Don't even think 5 years really is going to change too much. It's going to change a lot, and that's why it's like, I tell you guys all the time to wrap these things up. I can't stand these challenges because it gives people a start and an end date. There is no start and there is no end date. The end date is when you are done, either up here or physically. So you are going to constantly get so much information passed to you. And it's not all misinformation. Usually it's just not always coming from the right place. So you just take it all in stride. But it's a lot of good stuff that people are talking about out there. But at the end of the day, it's not anything new. If you don't start being real with yourself more than any goals you ever set, then there's no reason for you to set a goal. Like I tell people all the time, I had a very, very rich client, and she looked me in the eye and she said, Travis, I don't care how much I'm paying you. I'm going to eat how I want to eat, drink how I want to drink, and live how I want to live. And I'm going to come work out with you 2 times out of the week. And no matter what's going on with me, don't say anything. And that woman struggled through a lot of workouts, and she had some success and fun on a lot of workouts. But the workouts she had success and fun were the workouts where she had some time to take care of herself leading up to the workouts. The workouts where she did not do so well were the workouts where she was traveling a lot with her friends and eating out a lot and just living a very, very lavish lifestyle. I'm not sure where she is right now, but I'm hoping she changed her health, because that approach is not sustainable and it's really, really not good for your livelihood. You have to start reminding yourself it is about, I need to be around to take care of the people that I love. You see so many people that are constantly taking care of everybody else but themselves, and then they got the nerve to say that they care about anything. You don't care about anything but attention on you. These are the things that are way more important than you reading, tracking, or paying attention to any food journals. Because if you don't get these things taken care of in your life, what I'm trying to tell you, you will not lose weight if you do not change the drama and trauma that is consistently surrounding your life. Get the toxicity out of your life and your body will change. If you don't, it will stay the same. Love you guys. Set real goals. See you in the gym. Be prepared to weigh in. Any questions so far? So I'll see you guys in the gym, man. That's all I really got to say. Like I said, this last 4 weeks is nothing pretty. People are going to be saying all types of stuff. I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm just going to look at them and say, you didn't want to change. That's why you're here where you are. But you know, I care about you guys and just come in and get your workouts in. We keep it going. All right. See you in the gym.